Hi, Tribe Builders. This is Tanya Rooney, and I'm super excited to bring this person to you today. I met her, of course, in one of my networks because I meet everybody through my network. I was a hospitable host in a book, so I wrote a chapter in a book called Hospitable Hosts. I was in book 3, and the gal that runs this, her name is Jody. She brings these people in to teach you how to do some things, and that's where this gal came into my life, and I just saw the passion that she has for the work that she does, and the super it just seems like she makes things kind of easy and not seem like this big huge oh my god, how the heck am I ever going to do that? So I'm really excited for her to talk today about the stuff that she does and the groups that she's kind of have been following her now, because she's created a community around what she does, and it's going to be really fun to learn about. So hi, Bridget, how are you?
Tanya, that was a great introduction. I also love that you say gal, because I love that word, gal. My gals.
Yes, these are my peeps. Okay, so Bridget has a company that's honestly about PR and marketing and things like that. So tell the people that are listening about your company and just why is it awesome?
Visibility on purpose. It is awesome. It is awesome because basically the idea is that small companies, boutique brands, they deserve the same notoriety, publicity that big brands do. But usually small, mom and pop personal brands, they don't always have the budget like huge PR or huge companies do for PR. So we teach founders how to do it themselves, or at least train their teams on how they can implement strategies. And it's really about getting on podcasts. It's about getting featured in the media. It's about being interviewed on TV. And it's the bee's knees, because when you're passionate about what you do, to be able to share that with more people, that's just fun. And it's such a gift. Honestly, that's why I believe in it, because I've been doing this for myself for years. And my start to my career is not in PR. So we can go into that if we want. But I've just been doing these things for myself. And that's why I believe that anyone can do this.
Yeah, I love that. Because, like I said earlier, even when I was introing you, it's just you make it seem oh, this isn't that big of a deal. I feel like we grow up with this, with movies and stuff, and we're just I don't know how people did that. Or maybe you see it, you see all of a sudden somebody on the news. That is a big deal when you grow up in a small town. You're like, holy Hannah, this farmer got on the news. How did that happen? And you're over here actually, there is a strategy to do that, and it's not that hard. And I think that's what I love about what you do.
I love that. And thank you for saying that, because one of my passions in this life is to make complicated things easy. And I love making step-by-step tutorials. I love just breaking complicated things down into bite-sized little pieces of information, little nuggets. And then we just take those nuggets and we just implement them. Let it be simple, let it be easy.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. The way I feel about social media sometimes, I'm just it's the end of the world. What on earth am I supposed to do a reel about every day? To launch myself, whatever. Okay, so tell me what that company looks like. When did you start it? Why did you start it? What did that look like?
So I think we have to go back to how I know Jody, who is the founder of Hospitable Hosts. So I know Jody because I used to have a publishing company doing just what Jody does. And Jody was one of my clients prior even to the publishing company. I used to help online entrepreneurs speak on video. I have had this passion for public speaking for years, and I realize a lot of people are scared shitless to be in front of a camera, to be on the mic, and to talk about what it is that they do. So Jody comes into my program. It was called Rock the Mic Online, and it was all about speaking. And I just love Jody. She was just amazing, and we're still so close to this day. So she ends up working with me. I decide to start a publishing company helping entrepreneurs share their message in books. I'd already been doing it on podcasts and on video. And so Jody and I work together, and then we just hit it off. And then she's like, Bridget, I have this idea. I want to start Hospitable Hosts. I think, we can gather the bows from all over the world. I'm trying to do her accent. We can gather the people from all over the world who are in the short-term rental business. There's really something here, Bridget. And I'm like, okay, this is fantastic. Absolutely, go for it. And she's really created something pretty amazing in only a short amount of time. So, Jody and I have known each other, and that's how I know you. And in that time with my publishing company, I was also really leaning into PR for my authors. I was like, okay, the book comes out, cool, but what happens after the book comes out? These authors need to really have a personal brand. They need to have an online presence. They need to be showing up on video. They need to be doing these things. They need to be getting interviewed. So, you can see all these breadcrumbs just like naturally fall into each other. And that is where I decided to bring PR into publishing. And I reached out to a girl named Lydia Bagarosa, who's now my business partner. We both went to Rutgers University together, didn't know each other at the time, and we decided to basically teach small business owners how to do their own PR. And we would say, like, be your own publicist. So she was coming in, she was helping me, I was learning a bunch from her, and we said, hey, I think we like have something here. We know there's a little bit of this like small market where small business owners don't have the money to pay the agency, which is going to cost them like $3,000 to $10,000 a month. Usually there's a retainer for it as well. And we can show them what to do. So we ran online programs, online courses. We have a podcast. We have a YouTube channel, which is my baby. And we also teach team members how to do this. So if you have a team member, like, we can actually train them, which I also love because that makes it easier for you.
That's really awesome. So you literally help people like get on TV shows and radio shows and get mentioned in blogs and like stuff like that. That all ties together to marketing, really, when
Yep.
it comes back to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. We always say like PR is a cousin of marketing because although it doesn't have the same exact tasks and actions, all these things help each other. Advertising, marketing, PR, they all are cousins. They all go together to really build brand awareness, get more eyes on what it is that you do. They just have different ways of doing that, we could say.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like an ecosystem to me of like all of the things.
Oh,
That's
I
like,
love that.
oh, there's a little dome here. Okay. So this isn't on my list of questions or anything, but now I'm actually just gonna ask some. So how do you okay, if somebody has, a couple of businesses, like, I mean, even like yourself, how do you tie everything? Like, how does a person choose what stuff is the thing that they should be putting out there? Like, I'm going to use myself as an example. So I've written in the book Hospitable Hosts. I love short-term rentals. I love real estate. I used to flip. I love all of that stuff. And then I have, my own podcast. Obviously, you're on it. And then, I have a coaching business I'm going to start up. So how does a person like decide? Because if I want to go out there and start talking about hospitable hosts and be on, like a TV show, literally talking about this book and my houses, how does that tie into all the other businesses? Or do you tell people, to pick one thing, or what does that look like?
I don't think you have to pick one thing, and I am probably the perfect example of not picking one thing. I'm a
Hmm.
yoga teacher, I'm a holistic health coach, and I've gotten pressed for those things. I am a real estate agent. I have a business with my dad and sister talking about finances for young adults. So I am not a person who has one thing going on, and I totally understand that question though, because it can be like, okay, what do I bring forward? And I think there's always a way that we can be strategic in what we're presenting as the front door. So when you think of the front door and what you're presenting, maybe in your pitch, you have to be thinking about, okay, what does the media want? They want things that are timely, relevant, and newsworthy. So what conversations are they having? What conversations are on podcasts right now? What conversation is being had in TV? What conversations do magazines want to talk about? And I would always lead with that because that front door is where you're going to meet those people. Then this is all about like a press strategy, right? So you meet them
Hmm.
at the front door and you start getting some interviews. So maybe you're starting to get interviewed for your short-term rental business and there's some buzz about that. And then from there, you're starting to be invited onto other podcasts where you can start to talk a little bit more about the coaching that you developed as a result of, starting the short-term rental business. So it's all about like kind of where you start and where you meet the public, but then you're always welcome to have all the doorways open to what it is that you do. And this is why like having a personal brand is so fun because you don't just need to be a boring, like one-sided business. We're not like that anymore as business owners, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. And I asked that obviously for myself, but I also think of like I've got friends that we talk about stuff like this. It's like, hey, I have a hosting business And I have, so and if you have a hosting business or if you're a co-host, so people that don't know what short-term rental stuff is, a co-host is like essentially a short-term rental or an Airbnb property manager. Whereas then there's owners. So somebody could be, they're trying to get guests to come and stay in their house, but they're also trying to get co-host like opportunities. So people to bring their properties into their portfolio so that they have more choices for the guests. So it's kind of an interesting, like, how do you marry all of this stuff together? And I think I have those conversations pretty regularly. And right now it happened a few times already this week. So I think about like, so they can really all marry together, and it's not that big. It's not very far-fetched is what you're saying.
No, I don't think so at all. And, some things from a media and publicity standpoint, some things might be more likely to have a conversation around it. Like maybe more of the public are looking to have conversations around the real estate market in general. So that might be your doorway in. I see a lot of call outs from writers saying, hey, I need a realtor to talk about like inflation, how it's affecting the housing market and yada, yada, yada. So that might be your first doorway, but it doesn't mean that you can't talk about other things. And honestly, this is why I think podcasts are really a great strategy for any business owner. And I say strategy in like quotations because us having this conversation doesn't feel like I was like trying, we just talked and you were like, hey, you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, I do. So it is a strategy because, I'm going to share this with my audience. I'm going to share this interview with my audience. And that way they're going to meet you. You're going to share me on your show. I'm going to meet your audience. So it's a win-win. But I really recommend for business owners, get on podcasts and have those conversations. And this leans into like what you and I really enjoy talking about, which is your network. And podcasts are so, so good for developing a network because you and I could probably just talk like not even on the air about random stuff like we did 10 minutes like before pressing go.
Yes. Yeah, they're totally right. Yes, there's just certain people that you're like, oh yeah, you understand. That's usually the people that I ask to be on because I'm just like, you get it. That's why you have a group too. Okay, so one more question before we hop over into like more of a different subject. So PR, you just talked about how marketing is a cousin, it's in the ecosystem. So how much emphasis do you put on social media versus PR? Because your social media is obviously a PR tool, but it's not necessarily like, I guess if I was a person that didn't know anything about you, like it didn't know you at all, I'd be like, so does she do social media? So can you just tell me or like talk about like I guess the differences or what you think.
Yeah, so PR stands for public relations, and it's all about how the public perceives your brand. So, in many ways, social media does fit into a little slice of that pie. What we are talking about and usually teaching is really media relations, where you are
Okay.
engaging and reaching out to the media, aka writers at publications, podcast hosts, TV anchors and producers, people who put together events, maybe even brands for sponsorships and, in-kind donations. So we're more so in that camp, and that's just our choice. We just
Yeah.
didn't want to dive into the social media stuff as our main thing because, as you said, like it is, first of all, ever evolving, ever changing. The algorithms are like, it's not my favorite thing. It might look like
Mhm.
I like social media. I like it. It's fun. I'm just trying to have fun these days, honestly. Since having a kid too, I'm just like I'm just going to like make this real and then like go feed him or I'm going to post what I'm eating and then like bye. So, I'm social media is part of the equation. It needs to be part of your PR strategy. We don't
Mhm.
focus on that. And what I mean as part of your PR strategy, you need to have a presence on social media. It needs to be usually professional because writers are going to vet you. So say you pitch something, which is just an email or a message. It's just like, hey, I do this thing. Would this be helpful for a story that you might ever write? They're going to look at what you do. Social, they're going to look at your website, because they need to be able to see how you interact with the public, how you speak on whatever it is that you talk about. So that's important. And also, when you get any sort of press, that should be shared on your social media as well. Because it's all, as you said, Tanya, like an ecosystem. Everything builds upon itself. So if you were interviewed, share that with your audience. If you were featured in a magazine, tell people. Like you got to speak on something that you love. Tell people. Don't hide it.
Yeah, no, I think that's really, really a good point. Like, as how you, reach out to people and, or like, tell people. But this is really an interesting, thing to think about because I also think that's another spot that some people struggle. They're just like, well, can I be me? Like, what does professional mean? Like, there's so many options. And obviously somebody that's going out there just being a troll all the time, like that's a very given. That's not professional. Let's like not do that kind of stuff. But what does it mean when you say, yeah, like they're like a writer or somebody that's maybe going to put you on their, on Forbes or whatever website? What does it mean to be professional on social media that they're vetting that
Mm,
like you actually recommend to people? Oh my gosh,
mm.
this is so interesting.
So, okay, when I say professional, this is an example not of social media, but it's of a website. So, we had someone in our sphere who was an author, but their website was like like selfies of them with their dog, which is fine, but like there's a misalignment between, you know, having a personal brand and an image versus being okay, because I post pictures of my dogs too. Like that is okay. So it's not that you
Not
can't post
wrong.
pictures of your dog. It is time and place. Time and place. A website is almost like a portfolio, especially if it's a personal brand. If you have a, a service company as well, you want your photos to look professional. Like I have been in this short-term rental world with all of you for years now because I know Jody. And I've seen the websites. Like they're really, really well done, many of them. So if I am pitching, okay, say you have a software company for short-term rentals, if I'm pitching, hey, I have this thing, this could really help, I think this would be a great fit for your story, and they go to that website and it looks like just like throwing spaghetti at
Him
the
and
wall.
dogs. Well,
Yeah,
him and
like
dogs.
exactly. That doesn't look good. And then if they go to the socials and it's also just like, oh, I don't know. I'm giving a really bad example, Tanya, but I think
No, no,
everyone
no.
gets what I'm saying.
No, no, no. You could just keep it with the dogs thing. It's like, do you want somebody? I've actually thought of stuff like that. When somebody uses their social media to complain about a client, I see this probably a little too often in co-hosting land. Just like this, this person made me really mad, and this is what this owner is expecting of me, and all of this, and we're finally done, and I'm so excited. And I think about like, what is a prospective owner like if you want more owners to come to you to co-host, what does a prospective owner look like? What they're going to see, that they're going to look
Great
at that,
example.
like, do you want them to see that? So you can totally get clients that way. Sadly, that totally could work, but at the same time, you're just going to make them feel really uncomfortable. It's like, oh, are you going to treat me like that? Like, are you going to shit talk me on the internet
Yeah.
because, I won't give you money for the pool to get fixed, or like, stuff like that. So it's representing, correctly. And yeah, everybody can go travel, but do they also, talk about their business or what kinds of things? Like, it's so interesting because I'm in this whole entire process of like trying to figure out what does that brand look like and how
Mm.
does it all marry together. And somebody came up to me that I didn't know at all, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're the girl that cares about business owners finding friends." And I was like, "Oh, this is the best compliment I've ever gotten in my entire life because it feels like that's exactly what I'm
Right.
trying to do." And I don't even know how, like, but you could have a plan like that,
Yeah.
like, and I feel like that's kind of what you guys say is like, just have like a plan on what that looks like. You don't have to know all the facts of it right now, but just know that this is the ecosystem you're building, and it needs to all marry, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. We're for visibility and purpose, we are going to be doing a little bit of a different sale in the next couple of months. And we were like, okay, if we did something that we've never done before when it comes to a sale, what would be the most fun for us? And we said, what we really love to share publicly is like the things that we love. And the whole idea is like, what if you could get publicity for being yourself, the things that you love? I love healthy eating, food, outdoors, cooking. What if I shared that as part of our strategy on our channel or on our Instagram, on our YouTube? What if? So there is intentionality that can go into what's being shared, but there is still like strategy behind it. So the idea is, okay, what if you could be yourself when it comes to getting publicity? As we started the conversation, Tanya, like there are all these different pieces of us, right? Maybe there's the travel piece, there's the real estate piece, there's the co-hosting, there's the author piece. What if we could share all of those things make that front and center and just kind of have fun with it. And we were like, let's just try it. Why not? So we'll see.
Just wing it. So are you one of the people then that talks about pillars? So now I'm thinking of, because you just like, let's just say you just named off 7 things, and we can have all the 7 things because that's truly real life. That's authentic. But then there's people that'll say like, well, there just needs to be 3 pillars. Like you got to pick the 3 pillars and that's what you need to hit on every time. Like, does that have a place in what you're talking about? Or like,
I don't think
I
I'm
mean,
that cut and
honestly,
dry
winging
these
it's
days.
okay. Yeah.
You know, I quit my job in 2016 at Yelp. I've been online since that time. Yoga teacher, holistic health coach. I'm a person who just tries things. I don't really follow the
Yeah.
rules well, which is why I'm happy like we're having this conversation because that's probably why we're friends. I just don't. So I usually try things and see what works, and then I double down on what works and what feels honestly the most fun for me. Now, if you ask my business partner Lydia, she might have a different answer, which is
Different
why
answer.
we work really well together. And I think this comes back to, everyone's strategy is usually unique, however they do it. But I think one thing that does always work is building relationships, having fun, having some structure, like having organization behind the scenes, I think is really helpful. I love like operations. So I'm a nerd with that kind of stuff. But when it comes to forward facing, I'm usually just try, like figure it
Yeah.
out. I know that's a really bad answer, but like
No, no,
honest.
honestly, I think we just have to keep telling people stuff like that because I have to be told that constantly that it's like, just show up. Like I've talked to some other people that I really, really enjoy online. Like I'll message somebody if I think their content is like, it's just like if I go down a rabbit hole, I try to message them and be like, I just went down this rabbit hole and learned all about you. And this is really weird, but I'm glad you shared. And then they'll share stuff back. And the amount of people that say, I just like stopped caring about what it was and I just shared stuff that I was excited about. And then all of a sudden they went from 1,000 followers to 14,000. Like, and not overnight, but pretty close to overnight-ish, or we would think it's overnight-ish. And I think that's kind of one of the cool things that it's like, and it changes so much, like what works and what doesn't it just evolves so intensely and so quickly that I don't know if there is a friggin' formula anymore.
It's so true. And when I think about, using these social platforms, yeah, there's one aspect of nurturing our pre-existing audience, but what we really want to be doing is bringing new people into our audience. So when it comes to like a strategy of having perfect content pillars and blah, 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 it doesn't really matter so much because if you are being shown to the new people on the explore page, yeah, they might do a deep dive down your thing, but they're not following that progression yet, right? It's only when people come into your space. So I've been really honestly having a ball on YouTube. So I love our YouTube channel because it's so SEO friendly. Our company is very like teaching based. So I get to do a lot of like tutorials, like how to write a press release. So the idea there is just bringing new eyes onto the work, not just nurturing our pre-existing community.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. It's cool to think, that you can have strategies to this. It kind of makes my head hurt a little because I'm like, oh, that's too many, or that's too many things to think about. But I'm just like, okay, we're gonna just try this, and then next month we'll try this. Can you talk to me about so you've kind of built a community around what you're doing? Like obviously, like when I think of PR, I have friends that'll mention PR stuff, and I'm like, oh, I have a girl that knows about PR that you don't have to because you're right. Like I think of PR and I think of downtown Minneapolis, a big firm, like a couple of big firms that I know of, and it's like. I know, Susie from Minnetonka, Minnesota is not going to pay that PR firm to do anything. Like that's not really a thing. So, tell me about like the community that you guys have built and what that like, just what that looks like for your business.
Yeah. I mean, okay, going back to these pillars, which I guess they're there, but we're not like, okay, this is the pillar. One thing Lydia and I love is having fun and having a community. Like that was when we decided to start this, we had a couple of conversations. Number one, what's the exit strategy? Number two, we're going to test the waters and do a paid event before we go into business together because it's a marriage, literally.
Yep.
So we had a lot of those conversations. And number three, we were like, what are our most important values? Community and fun. So those have been there throughout the progression of this business. And this business was only started in January 2023, although we had been collaborating together years before. So when it comes to community, that was just what was important to us. So we started hosting events, and usually it started online. So hosting online networking events. And one thing we did with our podcast, which we took a pause on because the baby came from me, but we actually, anyone we interviewed on our podcast, we would host a networking event with so that everyone could meet each other.
That's super cool.
I know, you should do it too, right? Because it's like, all these cool people, everyone who's been on the podcast, but they don't know each other. And what if they could?
The only problem with that is like it's national people. Like it's Jody who is in either the UK or Australia, or my buddy Mike who's in Michigan, and I know so many national people. Do you guys so is it a lot of it local?
No. These were online. We were hosting the networking event online. Yeah, networking event for the podcast
that's
online.
Completely different. Interesting. Okay, tell me more. I know that we're gonna go off on a tangent. Sorry, anybody that doesn't care about this. I do.
No, anyone should take this idea.
Yeah. What is it? What does that look like? What is like you just do a kickoff and you just tell everybody online, hey, come meet this person after the podcast is done, or what does that look like?
After we have like almost 100 episodes, I think, on the show right now. And what we'll do is after I think we tried to do it like once a quarter. That was the goal. And once a quarter, we'd send an email out to everyone, say, hey, like, it's so great that you've been on the show, but to make it even better, we want you to meet everyone. So here's what we're going to do. Here's the networking event. It's on January 26th, 4 p.m. Eastern. Here's your time zone. Here's the time zone, buddy, so you can, figure out your time zone, because we all know that is the worst thing under the sun when you have people all over the world.
Oh. The UK part in Australia, I'm just like, okay, I can handle America mostly, unless it's Hawaii and Arizona. Yeah, Arizona. Just I don't know what time it is in Arizona ever. It's a CDT, CST. I don't get it.
That's terrible.
Okay, so you just pretty much blast it out to your community and say like, hey, we're gonna have a networking event.
Yep, and then everyone gets to meet everyone, and then I'll do breakout rooms. So we'll do like a big kind of opening. Everyone can share handles and stuff like that. And then we'll do breakout rooms, like usually one-on-one for 10 minutes. And I like to have a prompt because I think it's helpful for the people who need a prompt. Others will just, free ball, which is great. And we've had a lot of really great feedback from that, because kind of two things. Now, we didn't do this intentionally, but it really worked in our favor. To be the connector of people is a very powerful position. Like, it really, really is, because people remember when you were the one who connected them to someone and something beautiful came out of that. And I have chills. That has happened a lot of times, not just with this networking event, but a lot of what I've done successfully, not intentionally. Again, this is just who I am, I think. That has been the case. Oh, like, I met through you. I met through this person and this happened. And I'm like, victory. Like, what a gift. That's so, so cool. And that has really helped. And then we've had the feedback of, I got a client from this, or I started working with this person, or I interviewed this person. And we interview a lot of writers from publications on our podcast. So we have had some, crossover of, hey, like that person interviewed me. It's been fun. It really has been fun.
That is really fun. That's funny because I actually do have like a question on my list of like, what are cool things that have come out of your community that you never would have expected? You never would have expected these random things that could turn into friendships. They could turn into business. They could and that's the beautiful part about having a community, and why I'm always cheerleading people, that it's like, you don't know what you're going to get out of it. That's the whole cool part, is like, you could find, like, I raise private funding for the properties that I buy. You could find $100,000 in your network, and you aren't going to know until you ask, or until you actually meet those people. And it is the most fun thing when stuff like that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And because you had the network, you could take that next step. And I don't think networking calls need to be stuffy. Like, technically we're like networking right now, but we're not
pretty much
networking. We're just getting to know each other and learning about each other, and that opens doorways, because now I could be like, okay, Tanya talked about this when we were on the show. Okay, I could introduce you to this person. I used to actually have like a database. I did used to do that. I had like my Notion database. I would I would write down someone's name. I would write down like fun facts, so like where they lived and just like a couple of interesting things. And I used Notion, and then I would go back if I needed someone who was like an accountant. I would type in accountant, and then I would have the person. It was like a Rolodex, but online.
I do this with my iPhone all the time. Like now I put in keywords of humans that I'll put in mortgage or Keller Williams realtor because that's a specific kind of realtor. I'll put in private money. I'll just put in all kinds of things. So and like plumber because I've got so many like I probably have 25 mics in my phone and I don't remember what all of the mics are. Like I mean I used to have a corporate job so a lot of those are corporates, but now I know to put in the notes if they're a plumber, when I met them, where I met them, who referred them, like when I worked with them. Because then when I send it to somebody, because people will ask me for referrals, like, hey, I need a plumber, I'll send them that with those notes so that they know, like, I used them on this house. I actually did use them.
That's really smart.
And how do we remember something like that, or where you met somebody? Like, I met somebody at an online networking event. That's a fantastic thing, but sometimes there's so many people that you meet. You have to like, so using an iPhone or like a smartphone or a smart Google Sheet or any of that, so easy to just put in those keywords and it's when it's fresh. You
Yeah,
got to do it when it's fresh in your
right
memory,
away.
right when you get in the car.
I love that you do that. It's so smart. And again, you probably weren't like, this is my strategy. It's just like this makes sense.
Yeah, no, yep. It's like, well, and you get to a point where somebody messaged me today. They literally some guy connected me to some mortgage person and I didn't ask for any of that and I didn't know who it was. I was like, I don't know who that is and I'm not looking for properties in Arizona. Well, come to find out, she's like, oh, he works for Keller Williams. I did a talk at Keller Williams recently.
There
I
you go.
met like 7 people that day and I haven't talked to them regularly, so I don't remember, this name because I meet a lot of people. So writing those things down, and as soon as she told me that, I was like, oh yeah, now I know exactly who you're talking about. And yep, we do properties and we might be looking in Arizona sometime. So like all these things come back because people remember details about you. Like you had just said, you're going to remember some things from this conversation and that's going to spark something later. It doesn't have to be in the next week, but you're going to be like, oh yeah, you should talk to my friend Tanya. And I do the same thing because you're the only PR person I know. I'm just like, oh, just go to Bridget. She's the only one.
Well, thank you.
So, I mean, it works. It totally works. So, can you tell me? It sounds like you kind of have strategies sometimes, even for meeting people. When you go to like a networking event, let's say it's one you put on or don't. Do you have a strategy when you get there of like, I need to try to talk to this many people? Do you ever think about it?
It's a really good question. No. I
Yeah,
usually
I
no.
don't either.
Now people are gonna know how I really operate. I kind of just figure things out, and I'm very
Mhm.
intuitive. I will say that might be one of my gifts in this because
Yeah.
I'm just gonna kind of read the room, and even like body language, I'm gonna talk to people where they seem open to a conversation and they're not closed off, or maybe they're wearing oh, here is something I have done, and again, it's not totally intentional because I do like to wear fun clothes. I usually wear fun earrings, and it is
Oh
always like a
yeah.
topic of conversation. Or I've also gotten fairy hair, which are those like little pieces of tinsel that they
Yeah.
like tie into your hair. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
And those kind of little things tend to be icebreakers. My husband has a lot of tattoos, and he always says tattoos are something that people will talk over and communicate about
Yep.
because it's like a central kind of point, and sometimes it's awkward, like, hi, I'm Bridget, what do you do? So some of those more like body things, I guess maybe that's my strategy, Tanya. I have a
Yeah.
strategy.
It's now you're just figuring it out. It's funny because I get asked these questions and I'm like, oh, I should actually like put some thought into that because I can go to a room and even though it seems like I would be the person that wants to go meet everybody, I actually don't. I pretty much am just like, nope, go to an event and meet 3 people or meet 5
Mm,
people or come home with like one phone number of a person that you can talk to later. And that to me, when somebody's a complete introvert, that's it. They can get one phone number, they can have one conversation, and then they're tapped out. They gotta go. They're so scared, they're gonna pee their pants. They gotta go.
yeah.
They gotta leave. But then there's people like us that like we just people like those introverts, they would attach themselves to us and we go around. And I remember the first time I ever watched this happen, I was at an event in my corporate world and it was an event called MinCrew, so it's Minnesota Corporate Real Estate for Women's Group. And I remember the gal that did this and like started introducing me. She introduced me to 3 people and then walked away. And I was like, oh. And then I found out more about her, and her husband calls her a professional best friend maker, and she 100% is. And now I know that I've evolved into a version of that, because it's like you just need to make a person comfortable. Like, here, little bird, go talk to Sue. Sue is going to talk to you about mortgages, and you're going to be fine. And then you walk away to go meet more people. But it's just thinking about the strategy. Like, I don't have a strategy normally either, but it's just when you don't know that you have one, it's because you already are just like doing the thing.
You're just doing it, and that is what we have a lot of similarities, because I'm listening to what people say or who they want to meet or just something fun about them. And then, yes, I love to be the connector bunny. Like, that is a fun role for me. It is my comfort zone, honestly. Some people would be hiding in the back. I'm like, oh, Susie, you have to meet Patricia. Like, you guys both love gluten-free banana bread.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You're like, oh, you cook keto food for your dog? Well, this lady also loves her dog. You guys should talk. You're going to love each other. Oh, I think that's so funny because it's true. I've totally had those moments.
So funny.
Okay, so that networking event situation is a really, really cool idea. I think I'm probably gonna have to tap you for that again and just like ask more questions offline, because what a fun thing. How do you get people to go to those kinds of networking events?
Usually a personalized message as well. So we'll usually send an email and I'll be like, hey, like, Becky, are you coming? I hope to see you tomorrow. Usually that little touch helps people. And not doing them too often, like making them more like an exclusive thing. And we'll usually say like the kind of people that we've interviewed on the show, just so they get a sense of, I won't name them, but we'll say we've interviewed, like, here's who you can expect in the audience. I don't think I'd say audience, but I would say, writers at top publications, TV anchors, branding experts, website designers. So kind of giving people, it's so funny, as I'm saying this, I'm like, this is a publicity skill. It's to be able, and it's a marketing skill, to be able to share something that is of value to whoever you're talking to. That is really what I'm selling my networking event to. The people we've interviewed on our podcast is what I'm doing in that email.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like, you even saying that just made me go, oh yeah, like I want to be walking value. Like, I want to be invited to places to talk to people because I want to give value, because I get so excited about, oh my gosh, did you know you can do this? Did you know that you can quit your job and this is how you could? Like, I just want everybody to join me in this club that I've made for myself. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need more people to go to the zoo with me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and people with jobs can't.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
So how do I build more of these people? I don't need to find them. I need them all to quit their jobs.
Yeah. And you have the podcast, you have your own communities, like, you already have the structure. And that's actually another thing that's interesting. I've always been like, okay, I'm not the smartest one in the room, like my brother and sister, far smarter academically than me. But I have more street smarts, right? So, and what that means is to be able to be have a community, to be the one who brings people together, again, is really important. When I was a yoga teacher, I was like, okay, there's really no one like actually hanging out together. I'm going to host women's circles. I'm going to host community events. Like, I would just be the one to spearhead it. And I didn't realize that that's a gift. Like, to be the one who's the organizer of things. I was just like, I like planning and I like people and I have cool ideas.
I went when you were sort of talking about that, because you live in New Jersey and I live in Minnesota. And last night I tried to go to a sound healing meditation thing that they do once a month. And the dude that does it got kidney stones. So they had to cancel it essentially at the hour. And I was like, dang it, I need more people that want to do this stuff, but it's not my background. Like, I'm not gonna all of a sudden become a sound healer. That's not a thing for me. And I don't have a space. Like, they do it at like an old church, and it's actually not a church anymore, it's a community center. But I'm like, I don't have those things, but I suppose now I need to go find those people and be like, we need to do this once a week.
Yeah.
Because there were so many people outside that just kept turning around and leaving, and I was like, what's happening? And then they said, but I need, like, those are the kinds of people. You need the people who are just going to spearhead
Yep.
something, and you like, and if you can't find anybody, like, I was annoyed that there really isn't a short-term rental meetup, so I just made one. And then sometimes I forgot to tell anybody about it or remembered that day, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably not going to work. But still, like, if you can't find the people, then just like make the thing for the people to come, because people love to talk about short-term rentals. I mean, we do. It's there's so many of us.
What is the
And
phrase? Build it, and
and
they
they
will
will come.
come.
Yeah, build it and they will come. And that's exactly what you did. So it sounds like that's kind of one of your knacks, is you're just like, fine, you guys can come hang out with me at my house then.
Yeah, I'm a perpetual host. Like I love just let me cook for you, just come over to my house. I love having people in my space. I'll just come on over.
Yes, it's so funny that Jody chose you to help out with hospitable hosts, because you're literally a hospitable host too. It's just you just don't happen to have any short-term rentals, but you host, it doesn't matter. Like, people that are hospitable or have my one of my favorite books is Unreasonable Hospitality. It's those people, just they're
Mhm.
hospitable. Like, you're just like, there's a thing that you just automatically do. You're just always filling people's water cups.
It's so true. Oh my
Like, oh
God.
my God, do you need more water? Do you need a new bottle of water? What can I do?
I feel so
There's a,
seen right
it's a
now.
certain type. Yeah. It's just a certain type of people, and I hang out with so many of those types. It's so funny when you go to like a short-term rental conference, and I like to stay in a house with other people, and we're like all mom. Like, I'm not a mom, which is funny, but we're all like house moms.
Yes.
Like, so there's 7 house moms, and it's like, which house mom is going to rise to the top and be able to take care of all the house moms? Because someone's eventually inevitably going to. But it is really funny to watch, to be like, well, I can just order food. I can order food. Who needs more
That's so
water?
funny. Oh my gosh. Wow. So interesting. So spot on, Tanya.
Well, it's kind of a cool place to be. And I feel like a lot of connectors are this way. It's just like, because you become a connector and you're just like, do you have enough water in
Yeah,
your
I feel
water
like you read
bottle?
the room well. It's like, okay, what do people need? You're kind of
Mhm.
you anticipate before people ask, which is what makes
Mhm.
it, we stay at Airbnbs and short-term rentals all the time. So it's like
Yeah.
that host has thought of things before we're asking, and they understand environment and how environment impacts mental health, physical health. Like there's something about that. So to be able to create that
Yeah.
space for someone,
Yeah.
that's the gift.
Yeah, no, it's super amazing. It's so fun. Okay, can you tell me about, like, if somebody wanted to get to hang out with a person like you because they want to learn all this stuff, like, what would you tell them to do? Do you have a community they can join? Do you just say follow us on Instagram? Like, what does it look like?
Okay, because since our YouTube channel is my baby right now, I am
YouTube, yes.
pushing out some great content. My video editing skills are really, really top tier right now. It's called Visibility on Purpose, our YouTube, and you'll be able to find free training. It's called Get Featured directly from that YouTube channel.
Okay. And this is the free training. Do you have like an email list and stuff that people sign up for, or no?
Yep, yep. If they do the free training, it's just visibilityonpurpose.com/get featured, and they'll
Mhm.
be on the email list, so they'll get all the fun things. Usually it's just me telling people, hey, I made this new YouTube video. Check it out. Here's what you learned.
It's cool. It's cool. It's straight and to the point. So, who is your ideal person that you're like talking to? Like, who do you want to help? Like, who, if somebody's listening is like, oh, I don't really know if that's for me, because, I don't want to be on TV to talk about my short-term rental. That's weird. What do you like? Who's the person then you are talking to?
Yeah, I think a lot of people that are likely listening to the show are sources or subject matter experts or personal brands, even if they have a short-term rental business as well. So just know, and a reminder for how the media works, you as a source, aka you have expertise, knowledge, background, some sort of credential, you're actually helping a writer because a writer is tasked with writing a story, usually on a topic like they don't know a million things about. So you're helping them by being a source. And when you look at it that way, I think it's a perspective shift of, oh my God, like, wait, I could work together with this person and get featured. Like it's a win, 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 win. Same goes for TV. They need someone who can come on and really prove their point. Like you as a business owner, a founder, you are actually helping the media prove their point. For better or for worse.
I know. Hopefully not for worse, mostly
Yeah.
though. Okay, awesome. All right, I'm gonna ask a couple extra questions before we wrap up. Can you tell me what you feel like one of your biggest wins has ever been?
Yes, I can. I was in a Home Goods commercial. It was
Ooh.
top moment of my
Ah,
life.
did you get to keep any pillows?
Oh, Tanya, more than that. I got $1,000 in free credit fr- from Marshalls, Home Goods, TJ Maxx. It was amazing. And I got paid for the commercial. Literally
What?
top moment of my life. And how did this happen, guys? I pitched myself. I video pitched myself. AKA I submitted a video of myself and I said, "Hey, like I'm Bridget and my idea of a good night, a good time is going to Home Goods." And they loved it.
Oh my word, are you kidding me? And then
Nope.
they just were like, here, have some money. Oh, okay, anybody listening? Oh my gosh, if you're in short-term rental land, the likelihood is you love Home Goods. I could have so many expensive pillows because I hate spending $40 on a pillow, but I love the pillow aisle. Or you could have all these weird gold gorillas in your house if you really wanted. You know what I'm
You're
talking
right.
about?
Oh, I do. Oh,
Or
I
the
do.
gold glasses. There's always gold
The
glasses.
weirdest
Why?
things, but the best. My favorite store.
Oh my gosh. Okay. See, this is the reason you guys probably need the free training is because if you could be on a Home Goods commercial, oh my God, I'm in. Did they at least do like a call out for it or you just sent it unsolicited?
No, no, no. That would be really
Really
cool.
funny.
No, it was a call out. There was a call out.
Okay.
They were in the tri-state area filming commercial, not too far from where I live.
Oh my gosh, you're so lucky. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, geez, I don't even know how anything is going to top that anyways, but whatever. Can you tell me if you have ever like where is somewhere really random that you've met somebody that turned into a mentor, an advisor, a business friend, anything about it that kind of has a story around it?
Honestly, we're gonna go back to Miss Jody. Jody and I met in the ethers on the internet, and we have met in person. I have connected with so many people from all over the world because of
Yeah.
Jody. You know, like you right here, the Hansons, Tony Bower, like so many people
Yeah.
who
I mean, hundreds at this
yeah,
point.
hundreds of people who have, and many of them have become good friends as well. So,
Yeah.
she is
All
that
because of one
person.
person.
Yeah,
Just because
one
of one person,
person.
you like have, portions of your business all
Yeah.
because of one. I love how that like
Yep.
follows back that it's like, oh, cool. That's what I'm saying. Anybody could change your whole entire life, but you have to put yourself out there.
So true.
Okay, and then what's the best advice someone has given you that you've actually used?
My dad, I interviewed him on an old podcast I had years ago. My dad's been an entrepreneur for all of my life. And I said, Dad, like, how have you grown such a successful business? And he said, have relationships and take care of people. Like, be a good person.
That's fantastic. And that's exactly how I want it to go out because there's nothing better than that sentence. Mr. Smith, I think your
Mr.
maiden
Smith,
name is.
Mr.
There we
Smith.
go. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for the wisdom to go out on this Tuesday. Well, Bridget, thanks for hanging out with me today. This was delightful. I think you're delightful. And I love that I got to tell people that you're awesome in so many ways. So follow Bridget and her business partner Lydia on Visibility on Purpose, like on Instagram, on YouTube. I'll throw it all in the show notes. And yeah, everybody have a great day. Bye, Bridget.
Thank you.